Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Historic Militaria. Today we are looking at a Japanese Type 100 bayonet, and these are pretty unusual today. Not a lot were made during the war, certainly not a lot survived the war, and even fewer are in collections and museums today. This was a Japanese bayonet that was shortened for paratroop use, and it was issued with the Type 100 machine gun, Type 100 paratrooper rifle, and the Type 2 paratrooper rifle, which obviously were for paratroops, and just didn't seem to see a lot of use. It's a very handy bayonet when you compare it to your full-length Type 30 bayonet, which was the standard issue for the Japanese military all through World War II and before. But we'll take a look at this because this is an item that is actually extensively faked today. If you do an eBay search or something like that, I guarantee you'll find a whole bunch of fake ones that are being sold as originals. And hopefully this will help you sort of see what an original looks like versus what is being put out there. So first things first, again, it's a very short bayonet compared to the original. The original being a full-size Type 30. A full-size Type 30's got about a 15.5-inch blade. The blade on this one is about 7 7/8 inches, and the overall length of a Type 100 is about 12.25 inches all the way to the end. Whereas the overall length of a Type 30 bayonet is going to be about 20 inches, so obviously that's your first difference right there. Another thing I'll just point out real quick, this is not a blued bayonet. A lot of Type 30 bayonets were blued. Don't be thrown off by that. This is just a left in the white example. Certainly some were. It's not unusual or anything like that. So these are always going to be blued. You're not going to see any left in the white examples. So expect to see a blued blade. Obviously your rifle connector right here, and your shorter handle. When you compare it to this, you're going to see that's a little bit different. For one thing, and not all Japanese bayonets had this, but the hooked quillion, which is sort of an early refinement that was done away with later in the war, you're going to find that this only has a little nub right here, no quillion or anything like that. If you see one with it, you should be pretty leery of it. Also, if it's got a straight quillion that comes down a little bit, that's probably a cut down one. Sort of the big tell on these, if it's original, is your markings are actually going to be here on the top. And this guy is actually a Toyoda, T-O-Y-O-D-A, automatic Loom Works model made at Nagoya Arsenal. And they were one of the subcontractors that made a lot of bayonets during the war. So that's a typical marking. But again, it's where these are marked that really makes them stand out. You're not going to see most bayonets marked there. Also, the blade is going to be devoid of any markings. So you flip this guy over. Again, devoid of any markings, just the straight, plain, blued blade. Whereas this one, again, this side is clear. Turn it over. You've got your maker mark right there on the blade. And if you look here, obviously no maker marks whatsoever. So that's a huge tell, huge difference, and something to always be leery of when you're contemplating the purchase of an alleged original. Again, I was doing some looking online for these just to kind of see what was out there. I found 4 on eBay that were absolute horrible fakes. They're just cut down Type 30s that weren't even in very good shape, that have just been cut down and turned into Type 100s. And the Japanese did not do that. So steer away from anything like that. And again, these are pretty expensive. You're going to be looking at least maybe into the realm of a couple $1,000s for one of these. So be really, really careful if somebody's not asking a lot and it differs from what I'm pointing out here. Here's the scabbard on one of these. This is a typical Type 30 leather belt hanger. Nothing unusual about that. But your scabbard itself is going to be short, obviously, and it's very much a standard Type 30 scabbard, so not a lot of difference in terms of the construction of it. Here's a regular Type 30 scabbard. As you can see, it's just longer. This one does not have all the leather carrier like the other one does. Here's the connector, and this is where your frog would normally go. This one's got all that too. Again, flip it over. You can see it's pretty standard piece of equipment. Even has the same kind of ball protector. This one does not have that, but it is rounded. You will find ones with and without this, so don't be overly concerned about that. But this is just shorter. That's really the only difference. And I really have not seen a lot of these faked, although always be careful. Be cognizant of what you're getting. So these were actually issued to Japanese soldiers, obviously, for being light and handy for paratroopers, and you'd find them in use. I know there was a lot of paratroop activity in the early war when they attacked some of the Dutch oil fields. I'm going to be honest, I'm not super versed in other operational deployments of these, but examples are few and far between. And this is an exceptionally nice example. It's certainly seen a little bit of use and looks like it had some minor sharpening at one point, but nothing big. It's a nice all original example with your nice wood handguards here, and everything still works on it. Your bayonet catch right here, just push that in and out, and that functions smoothly. And again, the scabbard is nice, a little bit of wear and a little bit of surface pitting, but nothing that would cause concern. The leather is nice and solid. That is one thing I have noticed about a lot of Japanese leather. It does seem to wear really well, and I haven't seen a lot dried out and just kind of cracking and flaking, whereas I do seem to see that in a lot of German leather, actually, from World War II. But this is just a nice example. You can tell this is actually worn in, so this bayonet has been with it for quite some time, and just a really clean one of these. And I thought you might enjoy taking a look at what to look for on these. And the other thing is, and I could possibly be wrong about this, but as far as I understand it, Toyoda Loom Works was the only maker of these. So if you see a vastly different maker or anything, like something out of Korea or China, you might want to be a little bit leery of that. These are actually also being reproduced as reproductions, so sold very honestly by some online retailers for really cheap, you know, like 75 bucks. And they're actually cut down from original Type 30 bayonets that were just probably too beat up or broken or whatnot to be sold for anything more than just parts. And like I said, they retail for about $75. Again, though, the difference is going to be they will have a maker's mark on the blade itself versus back here. One other thing I'll point out, this guy actually does have a serial number on it, if we can read that. And let's see. Yeah, it's just got a serial number. I don't know that that's particularly important, but you know, you'll see a lot of Japanese bayonets with serial numbers on them. As far as I understand, they certainly were not serialized to the rifles that they were issued with, so not a big deal at all. But just another interesting thing to sort of look out for if you're contemplating purchase of an original. And we will certainly do a video on the Type 2 Paratrooper rifle at a future date. So thanks for watching, and if there's anything you would like to see us look at, let me know in the comments, and we'll see if we can get a hold of it for you. Thanks for watching.